long. We never had a chance.
You want one?
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2024 action film Twisters. The film is directed by Lee Isaac Chung and it stars Daisy Edgar Jones, Glenn Powell, Anthony Ramos, Brandon Pereira, we have Maura Tierney, we have David Cornsweet, as well as many others. Right, okay, this is obviously the follow-up sequel to the classic 90s film Twister that was directed by Andy Bond and starred the late, great Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt and was a very, very successful film at the time. So this kind of came out of nowhere for me, this one. I wasn't expecting them to kind of make a follow-up to that film. But I wasn't opposed to it either. This time round we have a character called Kate, and she, at the beginning of the film, she's a storm chaser. She thinks she's got all the answers. She's got the gift of being able to, know where to head in regards to chasing the biggest storms. And eventually she basically leads her team into doom. She makes a bad call, and it kind of has a very, very tragic start to the film. Very cliffhanger in many, many ways, because she decides to hang up her boots, if you like, after this event. However, a few years later, she's kind of tried to... they try and bring her back into the fold. There's some new technology out there. One of her old comrades has got this really expensive crew with the best equipment, and he believes he can make a real difference, but he needs her back on his team because she's got the gift. She agrees to come back for a short period to help, and then they go storm chasing, and they go head to head with Glenn Powell's character Tyler, who is something of... a rogue element. He basically sees himself as some kind of, cowboy in regards to chasing down these tornadoes. He's a real risk taker. And he and Kate end up getting on quite well and become kind of kindred spirits in a way. Right, what are my thoughts on Twisters? Well, number one, we have to say this film is largely very, very entertaining here. Just as the first one was, it's captivating to watch, these twisters, tornadoes, hurricanes causing this devastation, and seeing cars and buildings being flipped around and people, and it looks highly impressive, very frightening, and it's fun to watch. That was the real selling point of the first one, in a sense. We'd never really had a film like that before. This time round, if you like, it doesn't have that same impact that the first one had. I think that's a fair analysis of this film. But that doesn't mean it doesn't stand on its own merits, this film, because I really do think it does. I thought this was, I don't think, shackled by, the success of the first one. It tries to be its own movie. Yes, you can ask questions, this so-called... what they were trying to do in the first film, get this research developed that was going to, leap them years ahead in regards to tornado research. And, they put their lives on the line, and they managed to do it at the end of that film. And it seems like in this film, like 20 plus years later, nothing's changed. So for me, I kind of felt a bit weird. They didn't really acknowledge... not that I recall anyway, like the events of the first film and what they achieved, which I thought was a bit odd, but there you go. So it kind of felt like they were playing around with a similar technology here, you know what I mean? Trying to get these things to fly up into the tornado so that they can record this, that, and the other. So it kind of felt like the same as the first film in that sense. But what I did like here, though, was it kind of tried to flip it around a bit in regards to the teams. Now, if you remember in the first team, there was that team, I think Cary Elwes was on it. He was the bad guy, and he had the trucks with all the best equipment, and, he was just not very good at storm chasing, really. And he ended up with having a poor end. Well, this time round, this Kate character, she goes on the the crew with all the best equipment and all this kind of stuff, and they're being funded, and they kind of feel like they're in it for the wrong reasons. So I won't go as far as to say they were like the bad guys, but they flipped it in a sense of, she was on the technologically advanced team, and Glenn Powell's team were the, fly by your pants team, and just took all the risks and didn't have all the technology and so on and so forth. He was basically, he had his own YouTube channel, and he kind of did it for the thrills. So they kind of flipped the script a little bit in regards to this Kate character, and the film for me picked up when her and Glenn Powell's character Tyler kind of started to connect, if you like, and she started to see that she's probably going to get further along by, using the way he kind of approaches the chasing the tornadoes and all this kind of stuff. But I did feel as though there was a distinct lack of chemistry between her character and Glenn Powell's character. When Glenn Powell's obviously has had a superb year in regards to movies. He's done very, very well. He's really a big star, and he's going to be a big star. And he's the Hitman film that came out a few weeks ago on Netflix, scorching hot chemistry. Sydney Sweeney, that was in the other film with Anything But You, was it? Something like that. Again, scorching chemistry. And it was lacking here, I felt, the chemistry. The sparks weren't really there. But again, it didn't spoil or detract from the film, really. Because the real star of the film here are the effects and the storms. And there are some absolutely outstanding action scenes and action sequences that do really put you on the edge of your seat for the most part, and they are done superbly well. And they are the selling point and the highlight of the film, but it was great. It was a very, very entertaining film. I mean, it would have been nice to maybe have a cameo from Helen Hunt. I know, my understanding is that Bill Paxton's son was in this film, but I think it was only a very small part. So it was nice to kind of get, a bit of Bill Paxton, if you like, on set, his spirit on set, if you like. So yeah, I do think this is a very, very entertaining film. I definitely had a good time in the cinema watching this. I don't think it's perfect. I think it's flawed. Some of the characters are not overly interesting, but I certainly was very interested in checking out David Cornsweet, who obviously is going to be the new Superman, because I don't recall seeing him in anything before. And he's not in it a great deal, but he doesn't exactly shine in this film, but it was certainly interesting to see him in this. So yeah, this is a solid outing. It's a solid popcorn film. I don't think many people are going to go into this and come out overly disappointed. Just don't go into it expecting Shakespeare, because you ain't going to get it, I suppose. But let's be honest, anyone going into this expecting that, you shouldn't really be going into it in the first place. So thanks for joining me for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. I will of course be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.